Hello again. White to checkmate in 2 moves. Yes, if you find the key move here, you shouldn't really have any trouble in finishing off the game. The question is, what is the key move? Now, looking at White's rooks, what should occur to anyone is that ideally you would like to connect those rooks, and you would like also to control the C line and the D line. And so for that reason, very quickly you should determine that you need to connect those rooks as quickly as possible. That will save a lot of time, and generally speaking, in this sort of a position, you will be able to find the key move as a result of what I have just said. Also, for that reason, you can eliminate moves such as bishop takes c2, threatening rook d1 mate, because bishop c2 fails to e2. You can also eliminate knight e5 check, because if black takes the knight, then there is no mate in 2. Check those out for yourselves by all means, but they don't. There's only one move here that leads to a mate in 2. Can you see it? And it does involve connectivity of the 2 rooks. Well, congrats if you have seen it. It's the taking of this pawn. Which rook? Well, double congrats if you found this one, because the reasoning behind this is that we want to leave open the possibility of doing something that you wouldn't have been able to do with the bishop on c2. Now, the threat is rook d1 mate, as it was with bishop c2, but the difference here is, okay, if black takes the knight, it's still rook d1. But you will notice that in all the other lines, that is the only time that rook d1 is played, where you're threatening it, and where he takes the knight, then you follow it up with rook d1. Of the other replies, should he reply like this, which of course stopped White in his tracks with bishop c2, it doesn't stop it here, because instead of rook d1, you play rook d2 checkmate. So that works wonderfully well. Let's take a look at bishop takes f7. So what's going on here? Now, when I initially looked at this, I thought bishop a4, but then I quickly had to backtrack because this bishop is pinned. So how do you get around it? Well, quite simply, you get around it by playing rook to c7, and that is checkmate. No doubt about that. So bishop f7 does not work. What else does he have? We tried e2, no good. Bishop f7, no good. Let's look at the moves of the knights. Supposing he moves this back rank knight, you can move it anywhere you want. The idea of moving the knights, of course, is that should you try and play rook d1, he can interpose. So rook d1 is out. Well, what you do there, of course, is you just play queen to e7, and that is checkmate. Alternatively, if he moves the other knight, and you can move that again anywhere you want. Let's just put it here. How do we proceed there? Well, you make a new queen. It has to be a queen because you need to be able to dually cover this and give checkmate. So a bishop wouldn't do because the knight would be able to be taken. A rook wouldn't do because it wouldn't be checking the king. And a knight, of course, will be useless. So it has to be a queen. So that is checkmate. Black has 2 final responses here. Let's take a look at those. That is the position after White has played rook on c4 to c2. Okay, well, the last 2, they're both with this rook on g5, and it is rook takes g6. Now here, of course, you have to be careful, because if you were to play rook d1, he'd interpose the rook. If you were to play bishop a4, he'd interpose the rook. But what wins, of course, is rook c7, which we've already seen, and we'll play it again. Because with moving the rook out the way, the bishop protects the knight on d8, and that is definitely checkmate. There's just one more reply, and it is with the same rook. Let's just take a a look at that to wrap this up. Okay, so that's after, again, rook on c4 takes c2. This is the last one, and this can easily throw you as well, thinking that no, you can't do it. What's the problem here for white? Well, the problem here for white, quite simply, is that if he plays rook to d1, the rook interposes. And if he tries to play rook c7, he realizes he can't because his rook is pinned. So what does he do? Right, well, something that wouldn't work before, because when the rook took the knight, it could interpose. This time around, we can play here, and there is nothing to interpose. And again, because the rook has moved out this h4 to d8 diagonal, the bishop nicely covers the knight on d8. And that is a very satisfying problem indeed, which I trust you enjoyed. Enjoy your chess, and goodbye for now.